The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
What's up, babe? What's going on? Yep. Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Chelly Chell in the building. Yo, I know you realize that we don't have a theme song right now. Theme song is coming soon, so I apologize for that dead silence, but it's coming soon. Look, you already know this is my favorite day of the week. I don't mess with no other days of the week, except for Thursday. I'm going to skip that intro because of today's guest. I want y'all to welcome to the show, man. Probably one of the most special guests I have had since I started the show. Please welcome, I can't even introduce this person anymore. Please welcome to the show, my father, Michael Richardson.
How y'all doing out there? What's going on?
What's going on, Dad?
Hey, you got it. You know, same old thing, just different days. This is right here is one of the lows of my life right here. My firstborn.
I appreciate that, Dad. I really do. Thank you so much for coming on the show. This is epic. You know, a lot of times people don't get a chance to sit down and have a candid conversation with their parents. And I feel like I want to say thank you for being so open to the point where I could talk to you about anything. So thank you for that.
Well, that's not a problem. You know, I think that's the key to a father and daughter relationship is they can be able to talk to each other about anything that's, you know, out there instead of just, you know, a parent always being the, what y'all call us now?
Headaches.
It's important to have that open conversation where you guys can be able to talk to each other back and forth.
Yeah. How was your day? What was going on this week in your life?
Well, you know, it started with Sunday with the tragic death of Kobe, you know, and I'm a big Laker fan, you know that already, and you know, that kind of touched me because with his little daughter, and then that just reminded me of things that, you know, life is so short now, man. I mean, just Saturday night, him and LeBron was celebrating LeBron breaking his record, and they had a conversation on Sunday morning, and then next thing you know, this tragic news came about, you know, so. Yeah. But the rest of my week was just same old things, just going to work, coming here, and I was excited about coming here and being with you tonight. Oh,
thank you for the excitement, man. I really appreciate that. Did you cry when Kobe died?
No, I didn't cry. I just felt it hard. You felt it hard? I felt bad because he had his daughter with him.
Yeah.
You know?
I think a lot of men did sympathize with that aspect. I mean, over the admiration they had for Kobe, I feel like him being with his daughter, and for fathers who have daughters, that was a hard hit. Like, whoa. I don't know what I would do. You know what I mean? If our last moment, I don't know. That was just beyond tragedy. But I remember the day it happened, not like it was that long ago, but I was, you know, I've been helping out with Nene, and I was going to the grocery store, and Gianna had already told me that he had died. But when I went to the grocery store, I had never seen so many men, like grown men, openly and publicly crying, like mourning the loss of somebody. I had never seen that. Like everywhere you went, and if it was a man, he was a Kobe fan, his eyes were red. He cried.
Yeah, my dad and I, I was getting him some breakfast. And there was a guy in there. He was in tears, and he was like, "Man, Kobe just died." And I was like, "Man, stop playing."
Yeah.
And I immediately got on social media, and I was like, "It was real." And then it started popping up over the news, and I felt some type of way. Like I said, he had his daughter with him, and that was rough, and I know his wife really must be going through some things.
And it was the coverage on that was crazy. Like they've been covering it every minute of every day since it happened, and it's just like all the facts don't matter. You know what I mean? It's just the biggest tragedy that could happen. And they trying to give back the whole year. Like people are just done with this whole year already because of that. But you know, shout out to Kobe and his. They did make the human crush of the week. Him and his daughter. Every week we have a crush of the week, but it's really just the human of the week. I'm gonna take all the crushing off because people think that's romantic. It's not what I'm trying to say. But this is who we want to honor this week: Kobe and his daughter, Gianna. I was gonna say Biernick, but Gianna Bryant. That's Gianna's Gilbert's sister.
Okay.
Nene. And it was crazy too because they had the same birthday. 8/23/06 and 8/23/1978, and they died on the same day. That's crazy. So shout out to the family, and our condolences go to the Bryant family and all the families of the people that were on the helicopter. 9 people lost their lives, to every single person on that helicopter, because I feel like they were kind of overshadowed a little bit. So I want to make sure we do that. So usually we talk about social issues, but I think right now the biggest social issue is just, me and you right now, right here, getting to know each other. I'm so excited about this, to be able to ask you these questions. I have 1 billion questions I want to ask you. 1,000,000,001 questions I want to ask you. First, let's start with your childhood. What was that like?
Well, my dad wasn't around because him and my mom had their little disagreements, and so he felt like that he didn't want to be bothered because, all the headaches she was causing and all that. And at one time in her life, she was doing very, very, very well. And then, she got hooked on the drugs and stuff. And so my little sisters and brothers, I had to do all the raising for them, out hustling bottles and to make sure that we had to eat. And, and a lot of the role models that I had was jailbirds. Right. So, and I didn't want that for myself, and especially when you came along. Right. Because I was, before you came along, I was out there trying to be this little thug, this little dope dealer, and all this stupid stuff. And then when you came along, I didn't want to be a stat. Yeah. Because there was a lot of kids that didn't have fathers. And then by me not having my father around like I wanted him, I didn't want that for you. Mm-hmm. And so, I had to make some changes in my life so I could have a better way to take care of you.
I had to laugh a little bit because you said you were. I can't imagine you as a gangster. you were thugging? Like what?
That's a part of me that I don't talk about.
I've never heard you talk about that. Like I did not know you was a. Were you a part of a crew? Were you a blood or a crip? Like what? I have so many.
That stuff I don't talk about. I just throw it in the trash.
Okay, what's your favorite color? Blue or red? It ain't red. Okay. So I come from a crip family. Just had to know why blue looks so good on me. That was cool. So how did you feel about? Well, first let me ask you this question. You said your dad wasn't around because him and his mom, him and Granny. That's my granny. Him and Granny didn't get along.
No, him and my mom.
Right, that's my granny.
Yeah.
Right. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's your grandma.
They didn't get along. Why do guys sometimes, or fathers, a lot of times become absent because of the relationship with the mother?
So a lot of times,
I know you can't speak for all guys, so I'm just generalizing.
Well, a lot of times it's out of anger. So, a lot of women, they're upset with the dad. They take the kid away. And then the father in return be like, well, you know what? All right, not a problem. Take them. I don't care. I ain't going to be around. And they go do their thing. But nobody realizes that it's the kid that's really getting hurt. Right. Because the dad out doing his thing, the mom out doing her thing, and the kid is just suffering because, the mom is angry at the dad and she takes it out on the kid. And then the dad's out doing his thing. He don't even pay no attention to the kid. Mm. And there's been instances where I've seen that kids walk right by their dad, didn't even know who he was. Mm. And then a lot of times, moms always telling the kids the negative things about their dad and not the things that broke their family apart. Right. So and that's a tragedy to me.
Right, it is. Do you think that it is fair for that lack of communication, just because the communication is broken down between the father and the mother, that the child and any other parent, don't have that communication? Do you think that's fair? Or?
No, I think the line of communication should always be open at all times, and that's one of the things that I'm happy about you and I. Right. I know for a while there you didn't understand why I was gone and all that until we had our conversation where, I told you, hey, instead of being here in the streets of LA, I had to make a difference in myself. So I had to, when I joined the Army, and that way I was able to have a steady income, steady medical, and steady dental, and I would be able to take care of you, provide for you.
Right. And how long were you in the Army?
26 years.
26 years. You dedicated. What you know, they say be all you could be. Were you all you could be for the 26 years? Did the Army give you what you wanted them to give you?
So I tell you, the Army it changed me a lot. It made me grow up as a man.
Okay.
It taught me responsibility, and it taught me a lot of leadership. And I had a lot of good mentors in the Army. Edward Fulmore, John Davis, Sergeant Jackson, Sergeant Bankston. You know, those are my mentors. And Sergeant Alderson, and they took care of me. They made sure that that I was doing the right things and be a better leader. And then, you know, the most influential person that really helped me was Sergeant Major Reynolds, Kenneth Reynolds. He, I had been in the Army for a while, and I've been a Sergeant First Class for a long time, and I was stagnant. And you know, he wanted me to do more. He brought a whole lot out of me. He did something that wasn't it's unheard of in the Army. He took me and made me a first sergeant of a company, and as an E7. And you know, you're supposed to be a promotable E7, and I wasn't. And he went to fight for me with the post sergeant majors and the general, and you know, hey, this is the guy that I want. And he stood by me, man. He really, it wasn't just a act like, you know, well, I'm gonna show you how bad I am, but he really stood behind me, and he let me be the actual first sergeant of a unit, and that was tremendous to me. And I got a chance to teach soldiers what being a non-commissioned officer really is all about.
No, okay, cool. So you said you did 7 combat tours.
Yeah,
7 combat tours, and one of them was Kuwait. What was that like for your mental health, going to war?
Well, it's funny you asked me that. So it was kind of like being at home.
What?
It was kind of like just being at home, you know,
right.
Because you see people get shot every day,
right.
You know, crimes and all that kind of stuff. And then when you got over there, it was almost the same thing. You seeing people shoot each other and people blowing up, and I was like being at home almost, you know.
Right. That's crazy.
So it didn't really affect me mentally, like make me crazy or anything like that, because I was kind of used to seeing stuff like that.
That's a crazy statement to, like, you know, to feel desensitized almost by war, because you know what I'm saying, that's a comparison to what the hood was for you.
Yeah,
like you was already at war.
Yeah, at that time, because you know, the time I was growing up, you only could wear certain colors,
right?
And then these guys were so bold enough to come up to you and, you know, what set you from, and I ain't for no set, you know,
wow.
And try to fight you or take your stuff from you. And so during that time I was growing up as a teenager, it was really, really rough out here.
Wow. So
that's why being in combat was like second nature to me almost.
Right. And you was a teenager, what was that, like the 40s?
I didn't know we was telling jokes on here.
No, so yeah, gang violence was at an all-time high though while you were growing up. Yeah. You know, it calmed down a little bit. Did you ever commit any crimes that are past the statute of limitations?
Nah. So like I had a conversation with one of my uncles, my mother's brother.
Which one?
Uncle Junior.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Maurice, Uncle Maurice. And okay. I told him, I said, you know, what I learned from you guys is how to take that negative and change it in my life, something I didn't want, because it took your whole teenage hood from you because you only knew one way, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So
that's cool, man. And when you left the Army, did you feel like everything you had sacrificed, it was worth it?
That was well, see, that's kind of tough because you know, you have 2 other brothers that one of them I felt like that he is really angry because I wasn't around, and they didn't understand that, you know, my job took me other places, and that's the type of conversation you and I had at one time. So I just hate that I had to miss out on some of the things of you guys' life, you know. But the joyous part was, like, I remember when I came home off leave, you didn't know I was here.
Mm-hmm.
And the look on your face when I came to the school, you know, that made me just feel just out of this world, you know?
Yeah, you showed up in your uniform. That was cool. I was like, oh, snap. It was cool. But I hear you say that, you know, your children didn't understand that you had to go to the Army, and that's why you were gone. Do you understand why they are still hurt from your absence?
Yes. Because kids need both parents. You know, and that was one of the things that I was missing. You know, and I wanted to do things different. You know, like my dad, he didn't even provide financial stuff for me. You know, me and my grandmother, God rest her soul, she made it. Me and her made it out $581 a month.
Right.
We're paying, you know, bills, food, her sacrificing stuff for me to go to school, and, you know, making sure I had shoes and clothes and keep a haircut, all that kind of stuff. She sacrificed for me to make sure that I can go to school. And so with me being absent from you guys' life, you know, I did feel a void that was in my life. So when I got out the Army, that was the first thing I said is I'm gonna get in touch with all my kids, and so we can just come back as, you know, and let them know that you guys are important to me.
Right.
And, you know, we may not have been able to be in there from back then, but we, you know, there's nothing that we can change about that.
That's facts.
Let's move forward and see where we can go. And that's where that I admire you a lot, because you was able to sit down and we had that conversation and we move on. Yeah. Because we can't change none of that.
No, we can't.
And my dad and I had that same conversation.
I was going to ask you about that.
So, you know, and I asked him, I said, you know, well, what was more important in your life than me? I'm your only son.
Right.
So what was more important in your life than me? And we had that conversation. He told me, you know, and so I told him, I said, so where do we go from here?
Right.
You know, do we continue to be like we were? I go my way, you go your way, or do you want to try to make this where we can be, you know, cordial with each other and have a father-son relationship? So that's what he chose, and now you know how we are with each other.
Right.
I mean, that's my man.
Right. If your kids were to ask you the same question, what would you say? What was more important than me? You know, I'm your child.
And that was my biggest decision about going to the military. So when I got out of school, you know, I wasn't no school guy. I mean, I could have went to school and played basketball, ran track or whatever, but I wasn't no school kid. So I didn't go to school. And like I said, I was hanging out on the streets and there wasn't nothing happening. And so when you came along, I had to make a decision. Was I going to do this, or was I going to be able to provide for my daughter?
Right.
And so I chose to go to the Army to provide for my kids.
Right.
And, you know, and that's what I would explain to them. I had to go do something different with my life, so I was able to provide for you guys financially. And
right now, what is the hardest part about reconnecting with your children? Because so what you're saying is 26 years you had to make sure that you were in the Army and be absent from your kid's life so you could be a better father. So now I'm only imagining how hard that reconnection is now. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like at this point, going to the Army is not enough, you know, of a reason. It's I need more of you to understand that, you know, hey, you're not here, and that hurt me. So what do you think is the hardest part of reconnecting with your other kids? Not me. Me and you were so easy to reconnect because I wanted you in my life. I didn't care what I had to do to have you in my life. I wanted you in my life. If I had to hurry up and forgive you and whatever, let the past be the past, I didn't care because I knew that that's what it was gonna take for you to be in my life. You know what I mean? For us to just move forward, like you said. I'm seeing with my brothers and sisters, it's not that easy for them.
Well, so Christian and I, we have a great relationship. Christian and I, we talk. Jalen is the one that I had the most difficult with, and he's taking it real hard that I wasn't around. And so, you know, I know he's hurt. because I felt the same way when my dad wasn't around. But I'm not going to give up trying to reconnect with my kid. You know, that's my son, and I love him with all my heart, just like I love you with all my heart. And I'm just going to continue to. So I know that it hurts a lot. Yeah. And I'm not trying to use the Army as an excuse. Okay. But I had to do what I do. Right. Had to do what I needed to do to make survive for you guys and survive for me. Right. And I know that just enough growing up in Los Angeles, just with a high school education wasn't going to get me the proper job to be able to take care of you guys. Right.
No, that's facts. And I think, like I said, for me, I just had to let everything go. But I have to be honest with you, the Army wasn't enough of a reason for me. It wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? You were like, well, I was in the Army, so I couldn't be there. I was like, okay, there was no phones. There are no stamps out there. Like, it wasn't enough for me. So I just want you to be aware when you are reconnecting with your children, not to so much rely on the Army as the reason as you're not being there, as much as just acknowledging the fact that you weren't. You know, because it doesn't matter. Like you said, it's in the past. It doesn't matter, but it kind of feels almost like for people who are taking it harder, for your kids who are taking it harder, it might kind of feel like dismissive, you know? Like, Dad, I'm hurt that you weren't there. And you're like, I know, I understand. I know it hurts. I had the same thing, but I was in the Army. I had to be in the Army to take care of you. And it's kind of like, that's.
So I think, well, like I said, I'm not using the Army as an
I know.
I'm not using it as an excuse, but that was just my way of, like I said, that's my way of being able to provide. Right. You know, because I wasn't going to get nothing here. And before I even tried the Army, I did try to get jobs and all that, and was making nothing, you know, so that was the best option for me. And then when I got into the Army, you know, the first thing I ever heard was, the Army is not a place for no. Well, at that time, the Army is not no place for no black man. You're not gonna succeed. You're not gonna do this. You're not gonna do that. You know, and you ain't gonna make it. You know, you're gonna get kicked out. You're gonna do this. So I was determined to show all them that I can make it in the Army, and it's not what you say it is, and nobody's not gonna tell me what I can't do. Right. And so, you know, I put forth the best foot that I had and my best effort, and you know, like I said, with my mentors, I was very successful in the Army. I had a better career than anybody could imagine in the Army.
That's good. I didn't really get to learn much about your Army career. I just remember when you came to my school, you had all of these badges on there, and I was mad at you or whatever for being gone, you know. And I was like, he probably bought those badges. Like, he probably didn't. That was probably not even no real badges. Like, he sold them all. Like, I wasn't even impressed. Like, but I will be honest. And, you know, when I talk to people about my dad, I feel good to be like, yeah, he was in the Army. You know, I don't have to say, like, my dad was in jail. My dad's not here. My dad, he's on the street corner. You know, I am able to say, yeah, my dad was in the Army. So, you know, I can understand why you made that decision, especially with the choices that you had. I want to talk about my mom and you.
Did she bring me on here to torture me or what?
Yes. You and my mom. What did you see in my mom when you first met her? Like, what was your first thought?
Well, okay, so I met your mom at Harvard Park. Okay. We was playing basketball. I was playing in the basketball league over there. Okay. And I was playing against her brother, Gerald. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and so I happened to have a good game that night. And, you know, so after the game, you know, I saw this big old stallion standing over there.
Oh, stallion is what she was. Big old 6'4" stallion, okay.
Yeah. And so my first question was like, hey, you play basketball? Yeah. She was like, no. Yeah. I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, why you tall?
Like, what a waste of height, you know. And so we talked that night, man. I mean, I walked her home and we talked about 12 o'clock at night. I had to go home, you know. And so we talked and we talked and we talked. And then days went by, and we just kept talking, and we ended up being together, and then we produced you,
Mm-hmm.
and then she quit me.
How long was y'all together? Like, I don't even know.
We was together for about a year and some.
Okay.
And then
She quit you.
for another dude named Michael Richardson.
That is the story. That is the story. Dang, Dad. I mean, that has got to hurt. Like it was you. You feel me? Like, it wasn't, no. She would have got another dude with the same name. It was you. Nah, you dodged.
I was like, wow.
That's funny. How did you feel when she told you she was pregnant?
Do we got that much time?
I
was excited.
Oh.
I was excited. And that's, man, I went home, I told my grandmother, I said, man, check this out. She said, what? I'm finna be a dad. She's like, and the first day she said, well, what you gonna do about the job? I'm not babysitting.
Which wasn't true.
And I remember, man, like, the night when she went to the hospital, she didn't tell me.
Right.
She called me after you was born. I ran up to the hospital, and I was like, man, this is mine.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I used to take you everywhere I went. I had a little Mazda RX-4. It was red. It was white with a red stripe on it. I had my little car seat back there, and everywhere I went, I took you to the baseball games. I sit you in the dugout with me.
That's probably why I can live anywhere. Like, I can like be cool in any environment. Like, I'll be good.
I remember one time I took you to a baseball game, and I was playing, and then you start crying, and this lady in the stands, she was like, hey, don't worry about it, microwave. I got it. I was like,
oh, you was pimping me.
I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, you was pimping me is what you was doing. It wasn't no quality time. You was this ladies to a baby's like ladies to a puppy. That's what you was. That was funny. When you realized you and my mom wasn't going to be together, what was your thoughts? Did you want to be with her?
At first. Mm-hmm. But then when she got Michael Richardson,
the other Michael Richardson,
I was just like, you know what? Because I talked to my grandmother, and she said, you still can be a father to your child. You don't have to be with her. Mm-hmm. You still can be a father to your child. You just make sure you go over there and you get your baby. You can bring her here, we'll take care of her and all that. And my grandmother taught me a lot of things and how to take care of you.
Yeah.
I used to braid your hair all the time.
Poor me. What I did, I love Grandma Mary because, like you were going in the Army, and that was my only connection to your side of the family. Like, if it wasn't for her, that was the hub for everybody. Everybody came there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was able to meet Cookie and her kids. Your dad was having kids my age at the time. I didn't know that was my aunt. I thought that was my cousin my whole life. That's how, because we took baths together, me, her, and Shari. So it used to be like, oh, that's my cousin too. And then when we were at her funeral and they said, your auntie Asia, I was like, who? You my cousin Asia? And everybody in the whole limousine jumped on me. That's your auntie. I'm like, why is she younger than me?
Yeah, that's my dad. I said, how you have a kid the same time I did?
So you guys have the same track record too.
No, we don't.
We I'm not gonna put you out there, but we went to breakfast, me, you, and him, or dinner, and we talked about y'all stats. But I remember you saying a lot that you were saying that you didn't want to be like him. And you guys' stats are very similar. How do you feel about that?
Well, from his father to him to me, the only difference is that I was able to provide for mine. Mm-hmm. And that's sad to say, but at the time, he was more in love with the motorcycle set than being with us.
Right.
And that was one of the things I said I was going to try to do different.
Right.
At least if I can't be there, I'm going to be able to provide for y'all.
Right. That must have been hard to forgive. Like, how did you forgive him for that?
So when I was deployed. I was in Kuwait. I remember when they called me in to tell them that my grandmother passed, and so on that flight all the way from Kuwait to LA, I had time to reflect and think about things. Right, so I was like, I got to go to his house, and
Y'all still wasn't cool at that point?
Mm-mm. So he would come home from work. I would sit outside till he go to bed. Once he went to bed, I would go in the house, or I would just stay gone till he go to bed. And then one day, I was watching a movie on TV, and this young man, he lost his dad, and it hurt him because he never got to tell his dad that he really, really loved him.
Right.
And so I was like, wow. So I said, you know what? I'm going to have a conversation with him. And when he came home, I sat there, and when he came in, I was like, hey, man, we need to have a conversation. That's when we had that conversation. So it changed a lot of things.
What did he say to you that made it easy for you to forgive him? Or did he say anything?
It wasn't the fact that it was easy for me to forgive him, but I mean, he was my dad, and I'd already lost my mother and my grandmother, so I was like, man, this is my last living parent, and I don't want him to go out with us having ill feelings.
Right.
So I was able to put my ill feelings aside,
right,
and just trash that and just say, okay, man, we're going to move forward.
No, facts. Same with me. Like, me and my mom don't have a good relationship at all. So when I was thinking about like just parental love, I was like, man, I'm really lacking in that area. I don't have a good foundation with my parents, and I don't want my attitude towards my dad to be the reason why I don't get to have him in my life, especially if he wants to be there. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, my mom sucks. So
don't say that.
Okay, you're right. All right. I think I have forgiven her. I'm just still a little bit bitter about her absence. It's that absence that's like just, it's so, and I know you can relate to this. It's just so, it's nitpicky. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, damn, you wasn't there. I don't care. Her not being here for me is because of her belief in her God. That's a big deal. But that's still not enough for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Either way, you're still not here.
That's something I don't understand.
You know what I'm saying?
I can never turn my back on my blood like that.
Right.
But that was like, like I told my dad, one of the things that really, really crushed me with him was my dad married a wonderful woman.
Carol?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he left. That was his bad.
And she had a son already. Troy, I love Troy to death. And I just saw how he did Troy.
Right.
Opposed to me, and I was like, whoa.
Mm.
I'm your son too.
Right.
I never held nothing like that against Troy because, like I said, I love Troy to death.
Right.
That's my brother till the day I die. It's just that, I just saw the difference that he was working with him than me, and it kind of crushed me a little bit. So, but I got over it though. I think going to the Army, man, helped me bottle up a lot of ill feelings because I knew that a lot of times I was on my last days.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Especially on my last tour, man, I was. I said, if I make it back, I'm going to make a conscious decision, conscious effort to reconnect with my family. Not just y'all, but my family, period. Because it's not body bad. So I had the chance to be able to stuff there to you guys to let you know I'm here if you want me.
What is enough for you?
Watch the TV shows.
TV dad.
Well, that's what I was about to say. So the TV dads to me was, they didn't have real life situations to me.
Okay.
Because they was all rich. They was doctors. Now, the poorest one that I could think of is good times.
I was about to say good time. That was the brokest family on TV.
Yeah, but they had that family love, you know, and they still didn't face the kind of issues that we face here, you know, and man, it was just like, to me, I'm proud to be a father.
Right.
I love the fact that, you know, that you can say that you're proud that you're my daughter. My son can say he's proud to be my son, and I just love being a father. I wish that things could have been different, where I could have been around, where I could have watched. Well, I watched your first steps, but you know, everybody's first steps and everybody playing football and back, whatever, you know. But I love being a dad.
And now, and like we keep saying that the past is gone, right? So now, what plan do you have for the present and in the future to reconnect with your children?
I'm here.
Right.
I'm here. If you want me, I'm here. And that's the bottom line right there.
What's something like a wish or a dream that you have? What'd you say, Morris? Morris, Mia. Morris got a question. Morris.
I see. The cat got a question.
Right. Morris got daddy issues. She wanted to say something. What's a hope or a dream? Okay, Morris. A hope or a dream that you have for you and your family?
That I have everybody in one sitting at one time.
All your kids in one
Man.
One sitting at one
All
time.
20 of them.
I know that, like, how many of that is not. Do you have 20? Let me find out. I got 19 other. I'm gonna be so mad. Now, we talked about my mom a little bit. Let's go back to that. How do you feel about me and my mom's relationship? And let me just give you a precursor. My mom is a Jehovah's Witness, devout Jehovah's Witness, and when I got this fellowship from the religion, our communication was very scattered, and then it was non-existent. I was kicked out of the house early. I couldn't stay with her. It was just, I've been bouncing from place to place because we don't have a good relationship. We can't even, like, she doesn't even want me around her. How do you feel when you hear me say that about my mom?
I think it's really sad that she goes hard. I just find that sad. And it's me that I remember telling me put up house. Now how you doing? Or you got money in that? And then, you know, a religion, a man can tell you, because you don't practice that religion, that you can't have no relationship with your own daughter.
Right.
That just, it bothers me a lot.
What was your relationship like with your mother?
The general.
Why do you call her the general? She got nicknames for days.
Because, you know, your grandmother was bossy as all outdoors.
It'd be the little one. She was like 4'11".
You know, my mom, I love my mom to death. I always will love my mom. My mom is the reason why I'm here. She, at one time, you know, I admired what she was doing. She had 4 little kids, and, you know, she was going to school. She became a registered nurse at one time, and then, you know, her downfall was I think she didn't get the chance to live her life as a kid, because she had to raise her brothers at a young age, because their mom passed away at her young age, and so, you know, she was the oldest, and so she had to take care of them. And so in turn, that her having us and still being young, you know, I think that kind of messed her up a little bit. And then she got introduced to drugs, man, and that was the bad part right there. And, you know, my mom thought that, because I left home when I was about 10 to live with my grandmother. My mom thought I hated her, and, you know, I had to let her know. I said, you know, I told her, Mom, I could never hate you, because you're the reason why I'm here. Right. I said, the only thing is that I don't like the decisions you make, because you make some bad decisions that cost us our family. Yeah. You know, and so I had to move on so I can be able to. I wanted to graduate from high school. I didn't want to be in and out of jail. I didn't want to do all that kind of stuff, you know. So I had to go somewhere where I was able to do that.
Well, you had a sister that passed away, right?
Yeah.
Was that due to Granny's drug use or?
Nah. I watched her get murdered. Yeah. That's
Well, I never knew that.
yeah.
How old
Me
were
and
you?
her was the only one that had the same mother and father. Yeah.
Wow, I never knew that. That was Shucka's daughter?
Yeah.
You want to talk about how that changed you?
I was real young at the time, you know. The person that I saw do it, I don't have a lot to say to him. But he's our family member, so I have to, you know, I let it go. Because the Lord said you're supposed to forgive, and I let it go, and I'm cordial.
Wait, so was it? How did they get away with that though?
Like I said, I was young, so I don't know how they did it.
Yeah, you just saw it happen, and
Yeah, I was standing right there.
wow. How old were you?
5.
5.
Yep. That was my little buddy because she followed me. It's just like she knew.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere I was, she followed me. She slept on my bed. She wouldn't go to sleep unless she slept in the bed with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I just knew that happened, and I remember I was younger, we were talking about it, but you couldn't really talk about it like that. I guess it was still very painful for you at the time.
Yeah.
And it still is to this day.
Yeah, because I just imagined what she would have been like.
Right.
You know, she was always, like, I remember one year we was taking pictures. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I had this little funny bow tie on.
I wish I had that picture.
I don't know what happened to it. And so, you know, told her to sit up there and take a picture. And she wouldn't be still.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, Michael, get your sister. Mm. And I was over there like, and the picture, you can see in the picture, she's looking this way, but she's looking at me and the photographer. I said, you better get it while she laughing.
Yeah.
So he took the picture with her looking like this. And so, yeah.
Wow. So it was, what, 4 of y'all? It was 4 of y'all? I mean, 5?
Yeah.
Pickle.
Hassan. It was Denise, me, Marie, Hassan, and Lena.
Wow. Wow. Did that make you? How did you view life? How did that change your view of life?
Well, I mean, I was young, so I just, you know, I wasn't understanding at the time. When it happened, I told my grandmother. I told her the whole story. I told her what I saw, and she wrote it down from the year it happened. Then when I got bigger, when I got older, she said, "Here, I want you to read this." And as I was reading it, I was visualizing it, and I was like, "She said, yeah, you told me this word for word when you was 5 years old."
Wow.
And I was like, man. So, you know, I didn't. So when it happened, you know, I just saw her being, you know, like this, and went to sleep, and then she got into bed, and it was put off that she had pneumonia. Because when I woke up in the morning, her body was frozen and, you know, swelled up next to me. And like I said, I was like, hey, Lena, she's cold. And so I didn't understand about, your sister dead. So it didn't really change life. When I understood what happened, it just changed how I viewed that person who did it to her.
And you saw him shake her to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you went through that. You know,
I think all the negative things that happened to me when I was younger, it just made me a stronger and different person.
Yeah.
You know, I don't let adversity stop me.
Right.
I use it as a tool to make me get stronger.
Mm-hmm. As you should. I mean, and the Army should have been sounded like you needed structure, you know. So the Army sounded like it gave you that structure that you needed.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it was, on a weak foundation. And I could see how you could have been easily going down the wrong path.
Well, people use that as an excuse.
Okay.
They use that as an excuse. Well, I ain't grew up this, but you can do, or you do from, whole dream. You go to work, come home, the white pick back. Okay.
How are you with that?
But I had to make it better.
No, like.
I can't beat her on camera, but I can beat her afterwards, right?
They can hear you. That's a threat. No, okay. So, I know my questions are limited in your love life.
Their lack of,
right, or their lack of, sure, whatever. How do you? What's your viewpoint on women? Just in general, like when you see a woman. You know what I mean? What do you think when you see a woman? Oh. Oh, say more.
I gotta drink water.
Oh, you gotta drink some water. You just toast to that then. I wonder what you're thinking.
Well, okay, so when I see a woman, what do I think?
Yeah, when you think of a woman, what do you think? What do you think of?
What she want?
What she want?
What's she about?
What's she about?
How she conduct herself?
Okay. So you already romanticize a woman when you see her?
No.
Okay.
So it's like you meet a person, a woman, as you say.
What would you say?
if you can't have a conversation,
right?
See, here's the thing, right? So women think about men. We all want one thing.
Mm-hmm. Is that true?
No.
Okay.
So, if you can't talk to a woman here,
mm-hmm.
that doesn't look good. So,
wait, hold on. So you, I don't think I'm going to let you go ahead and say that one. So you're saying that you can't have I can't even say it. You can't have a sexual connection with a woman unless she stimulates your mind?
I didn't say stimulate. I'm talking about, it's more than sex than just life. I mean, it's more than life than just sex.
Okay, but you can
because sex don't pay no bills.
Okay. Well, that's not true.
Oh, you nasty. Not on TV, dum-dum.
It's a profession of people who make money from sex. It's not me.
Okay, I don't want that kind of person around me, okay?
Okay. You don't want to go get her.
I don't want a night woman.
What about in the daytime?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. I want a woman that got a 9 to 5.
Okay.
A real one.
Okay.
With job titles.
That's all the same thing?
No, it's not. And it don't start with a P or H.
Right. Okay.
Or a W.
Okay. There's so many names for this, but okay. I'll let you go with that. So when you think of a woman, you think of attributes of a woman in a relationship.
So you have to think of somebody who can represent you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a woman that vocabulary is very limited,
okay,
and you settle for that, then what that say about you as a man?
You don't need to talk a lot.
Just go with me. Yeah. You look good, but don't say nothing.
Right.
But now if you have a woman that can hold a conversation, that woman that, I'm not going to say she got a PhD,
right?
but she can hold a conversation with people, and people, have it's a joy being around her. Mm-hmm. That's the type of woman that you look for.
Okay.
Well, I will hope.
That you, what about in just a general sense? Like a woman that you don't want to be in a relationship with?
A friend?
Yeah.
I have friends. I have friends in the Army. They're women.
That
we just friends.
Okay. Let's talk about.
She gonna get it after this, y'all.
I left it alone. I'm being nice. I'm being real. Okay.
Bring it.
Oh, bring it. Oh, you don't want me to bring it up to that question. Where were you when you found out? How did you find out that I was a lesbian? You might want to swallow that.
So, I came home on leave, and when I always come home, first place I go is to grandma's house. Then I go see Cookie. Mm-hmm. Cookie was my girl, and so when I was over there, Shari, you heard about Chelle? You talked to Chelle?
Shari said that?
Yeah. And so it was like, oh, you ain't seen Chelle? You ain't talked to Chelle? I was like, no. And then Cookie was like, hey, no. Let Chelle tell him. And Shari said, then she told me. And that's when I found you. I was like, man, why you couldn't tell me?
Oh, I didn't have the chance. Shari, a little hater. That's why I don't deal with her now. Hope she's watching.
It's like I tell people, that don't change nothing, man. You my daughter. Right. You always gonna be my daughter. That's your sexual preference. That's your life. You can't live my life for me. No. And I can't tell you how to do what you do. You know how I feel about it. But you still my daughter. You always gonna be my daughter.
I don't actually know how you feel about it.
It's not my particular choice for you.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not my decision.
Right. What do you feel like you're missing out on with me not being a heterosexual woman?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. I mean, because you. Right.
Grandkids?
I don't need them. they cost money. Oh, you cost enough.
I don't cost enough.
Yeah, you do.
What do you think? Do you think it would have changed anything if I would have told you, or did you just feel blindsided because she told you? Well, or did she tell you like, nah, your daughter is? Because I don't even know how I didn't even know that. I thought that you had saw me one day. This is when I thought you found out. I was at Cookie's house, and I had cornrows and baggy pants, and you was like, Moniece.
That's her middle name.
That's what he called me because that's the name he made. The only name you acknowledge. Where'd you come up with that name, Moniece?
Okay, so your mom wanted to name you Michelle Denise. I was like, nah, man, let's switch that up.
Thank you. Ugh.
Let's switch that up. Let's give her something different.
Yeah.
That's where we came up with Chelle Moniece.
Let's do something totally different. Yeah. Not Michelle Denise. We're going to do Chelle Moniece. Boo. I'm sorry. I thought that was smart. Okay. I love it, though. I do love my name. I always have. I like it.
Plus, it's my initials.
DMR.
MDR.
Yeah. Our name is very similar. I told you if you put your name.
I know.
I'll just put the D on top of it. That'll be it. Here's an interesting question before we leave. How do you want to be remembered?
Just as a good person that really tried hard. As a good person. A lot of my soldiers out the Army, they still see me today, and it makes me feel good to know that they, hey, you was the best first sergeant that we ever had in our unit, because I taught them and I showed them that I cared, and that's how I want you guys to be. That's why I try to show you that I love you, I care about you, and Christian, Jalen, Shayla, all that. I'm gonna show all y'all. 20. I can't name all 20 of y'all, okay? But that's the thing I want to show all y'all. That all you guys matter to me. So I want to be as a good person.
If all of your kids were watching right now, what would you say to them?
That I love you guys, and for the ones that hadn't let me in, and let's build something together.
That's beautiful. At the end of the day, I think it's beautiful that you want to be in your children's life, and that you never stop trying to be in your children's life, no matter what. I was talking to a friend of mine, I think Jelly, about how hard it must be for fathers to meet their children with that to be met with that resentment. Like that's got to be hard to just hear, or like, I know is I know I wasn't there. I'm sorry. I want to be there now to get over that hump. You know what I mean? I know that's hard.
Yeah.
So I commend you for continuing to wanting to be in your children's life. I hope you never stop. And I hope we do all get together one day. That'll be 20.
All 20 of y'all?
We gonna find out when the day and all them faces show up. We gonna be like, oh, now I'm the first one. Like, oh, they still coming in here.
I'm like, who are you? Who are you?
Can we get some paternity tests in there? Oh, another question: have you ever wanted to have a paternity test on any? Can I ask that question? I have. Yeah. Yeah. Was I one of them?
No.
Okay.
You don't need one. Y'all don't need it.
They say you look like me, but I don't believe them.
I mean, I be thinking about being fine, and when I think about being fine, I be thinking this is it, and then when I look at you,
y'all know my daughter was a hater.
50% you. You know what I'm saying? These are your genes.
Not the hater part.
Well, that's debatable.
No, it's not debatable. It's not debatable.
Any advice for me moving forward for our relationship? Anything I should know or need to know to continue to love you going forward for our relationship?
Just know that I'm always going to be here for you. And man, just like me and my dad, you see how we interact now. And that's how I hope that we can continue to be, because through my deployments and I learned that family is all you got, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I love you, Dad. I love you. Our Richardson creed is, I love you more today than yesterday, but not as much as tomorrow.
Ditto.
And in the third. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We got some outros. We got some outro. Oh, okay. Look, if y'all listen, I went to the weekend soiree last year. It was the best fun I ever had. Black queer women everywhere, successful people. This is the best weekend soiree you will ever go to. If you want to be a part of it and submit proposals to run a class out there or a session, please contact the weekend soiree. The deadline has been extended to February. I want to say it's a single digit, like 3rd or 4th or 5th. I'll have that information for you. But submit. It's bomb. I've submitted a proposal last year. I didn't get on. I was able to host a comedy show, but I had a good time. And every class I went to was informational. And I just hope y'all be a part of this. This year we're in DC. Make sure y'all get y'all tickets and follow the weekend soiree on IG and just love on them because what they're doing is all the way amazing. It's tomorrow, January 31st, we have volume 2 of concentric sound sessions. This is hosted by one of my favorite people, Pastel Shade, and Seven. And Cat. Oh, Cat, cool Cat. I'm tripping. Make sure y'all be there. It's a good question. It's a good go back POTUS. It's a good conversation about what it means to be masculine of center. Do you know what that means, Dad? Masculine of center.
I don't know what y'all term is.
Okay, too bad we run out of time on that one. The next one, POTUS. We got very important workshop, February 15th. If you want to learn what it takes to buy a house, it's a free workshop. Go RSVP at realestateandrollerskates@gmail.com. It'll be bomb. And we have, this chef is the bomb. Vanessa Pinch of Brown Sugar, one of the best chefs in the world. We went on a date there. She was bomb food. It was bomb. I almost fell in love. Make sure y'all get y'all tickets. She got good food, good cocktails. Everything she thought was the bomb. Shout out to our sponsor, Dr. Tanya Gilbert. And oh yeah, don't forget about February 14th. We got open mic karaoke with 10 after 2. Shout out to our sponsor, Arlen Hamilton. Her book is coming out March 5th. Make sure you catch that. It's called It's About Damn Time. And also shout out to our other sponsor, Dr. Tanya Gilbert, who is open for sessions. And I'll give y'all that information tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you again, Dad, for being here. This was probably an interview that means the most to me. So I appreciate you for coming out.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. And you already know I'm your girl, Chelly Chell, and I love you for real.